Hi, everyone. Welcome to tax season. We at the Financial Consulate are very excited for tax season. We like to think of it as the most wonderful time of the year. You might have a different idea for what the most wonderful time of the year is, but we are very excited to get started with tax season this year. My name is Leo Leveza, and I'm just going to take you through some of the tips to keep in mind as you're getting ready for tax season. So the first thing is, what do you need to do to prepare for tax season? The very first thing is gather up all of your tax documents. So what documents do you need? Well, by late January, W-2s, basically all 1099s should be issued. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll get them physically by late January, but they all have to at least be prepared and mailed by late January. Around mid-February, you'll get composite 1099s. So if you have a brokerage account, a taxable brokerage account, a lot of those companies like Charles Schwab, Fidelity, and TD Ameritrade will actually combine all of those 1099s into just one document. It's a pretty long document, but it's much easier than sending you 4 or 5 different ones. So those will be out generally around mid-February. And then in March, if you got one of those composite 1099s, sometimes the numbers in those get updated a little bit. So those will come out in usually mid-March or something like that. Keep in mind that if we at the Financial Consulate manage any of your IRAs or brokerage accounts, we actually get a copy of these 1099s on your behalf. So you'll get a copy of them, but we'll actually get a digital copy of them. So if you get these forms for any accounts that are under our management, you don't have to send them to us. We actually already get them for you. So that's one thing you can check off your list. The next thing you're going to want to do is we need you to complete your tax prep questionnaire as well as sign your engagement letter. So attached to this email is the link to the tax prep questionnaire, as well as a link to this website. This is the tax documents to download website. This website also has another link to the tax prep questionnaire, as well as both engagement letters that we like you to fill out. So the tax prep questionnaire this year is actually entirely digital. So you can click the link in this email. You can also click the link on our website, and you can actually digitally complete the questionnaire. And the great thing about this is once you finish, we actually will automatically get your results. So you won't have to send us your questionnaire. Once you hit submit at the end, we're automatically going to get that. So it's really great. It makes it a lot easier to fill out, and we're very excited about this change for this year. Keep in mind that unfortunately this has to be completed in one sitting. So if you start, it's not going to save your results and let you come back to it. So generally it'll take you about 15 minutes to complete. Could be less time. It all depends on how quickly you move through it. But keep that in mind. It's going to take you about 15 minutes. And there's also a little status bar down here that'll tell you how far along you are and how close you are to being done. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is just to sign your engagement letters. If we're preparing your personal tax returns, we'll ask you to do this individual engagement letter. If we're doing a business return, we'll have you sign this letter as well. This is sort of just the formal request for us to prepare your tax return for the year. Once you've done all that, then we need you to upload us your documents. So there's a couple different ways to get us those documents. I say upload. The preferred and quickest method is to send them through the client portal. This way, all we have to do is we download them, we start the process, and it's very seamless. You can always mail them to us, or if you're coming to the office, you can drop them off with you. Just keep in mind, if you come to the office, just to give us a heads up so we make sure someone is here to greet you when you get here. So there's a couple of important filing dates that you'll want to keep in mind throughout tax season, kind of as a mental clock. On January 17th, the 4th quarter estimated tax payments for tax year 2022, so the tax year that we're working on now, those payments are due by January 17th. On March 15th, any business tax returns are due, specifically partnerships and S corporations. Those will be due in mid-March. And then April 18th is the big day. So usually it's April 15th, but this year, because the 15th is on the weekend, it's actually, the returns aren't due until the 18th. So we get a couple of extra days this year. But that's when individual, trust, and corporate tax returns are due. If you are making quarterly estimated tax payments for 2023, Those will also be due on the 18th as well. So April 18th is the really big day to keep in mind. June 15th is when the second quarterly estimated tax payments are due. So if you are making quarterly estimated payments, June 15th is the second date to keep in mind. July 31st is when any employee benefit plan returns are due. Those are also called 5500s. If you have to do one of those, we'll reach out to you. But we just wanted to kind of plant the seed that those are due on July 31st. And then September 15th is when the third quarterly estimated tax payment will be due for tax year 2023. Then the question is, what do you do when your return's done? So once the return is done, the first thing you're going to want to do is read the instruction email that comes from our tax team. So this email has a lot of information in it, but it's all very important information. Here's an example of what one of those emails might look like. The important information is highlighted in red. These are the things that you have to do. It gives you a bunch of different information revolving, here's a link to pay your estimated tax payments online if you choose. There's a bunch of stuff in here. It's very important. So please read this when you get it. The second thing is we want you to read your return. So we want to make sure that return is completed and is accurate as possible. We're not expecting you to pull out a pencil and make sure the tax is right. That's what we're for. But just making sure that, everything that all the 1099s that you've gotten are matched up to your return somewhere and things just look right. We just want to make sure that everything is okay with you before we do anything else with the return. While you're reviewing the return, we also want you to review the instruction letter. So this is usually page 2 of the return. It'll be the invoice and then your instruction letter. And this is very, very important. So it's very important that you read it. This is much more detailed than that email that we just showed you, but this is going to tell you single step that you need to do in order to finalize your returns for the year. So for example, it's also going to tell you if you have a balance due, it's going to tell you exactly how much you owe, which account it's coming out of, and when. If you have those estimated tax vouchers, it'll tell you exactly where to mail them, exactly what to put on your check, and when each check and the amount of each check is due to the IRS. So this letter is very important. We strongly encourage that you read this letter as well, just to make sure that you don't miss anything when it comes to your taxes. Once you've done that and you're happy with your return, we'll have you sign your e-file forms. So this can either be done electronically or by hand. If it's electronically, you'll get a separate email from our electronic e-sign vendor so you can sign, or you can sign the document and mail it to us by hand. You can sign it by hand, I should say. You can also hand deliver it or mail it back to us. And just for context, let me go back here. This is what the e-file form for at least the federal government will look like. So if you're looking for forms, just something to keep in mind there. Then we need you to pay your tax prep invoice. So again, you can either mail us a check, call our office with your credit card number and pay over the phone, or if you're coming into the office, you can pay with a check when you come in or pay with your credit card when you come in as well. And after that, you're all done. There's a couple months of work kind of in a very short period of time, but those are the key things to keep in mind as you're getting ready for tax season this year. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to your advisor. You can email our office. It's info@financialconsulate.com, or you can give us a call, 410-823-7283. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, let us know.